Welcome back to World Cup match day. Time to reflect in more detail on what we saw this evening. Wales 0, England 3. England through to the last 16 to play Senegal as group winners. Wales' World Cup is over. We'll get Darius' thoughts on England in a moment. Let me start with you, Steve Morrison. They finished bottom of the group on 1 point. Wales waited so long for this World Cup to come, 64 long years. When you look back now, how did they acquit themselves? Well,
it's a difficult one, really, because obviously they've waited so long. They've played their heart out. They haven't performed as well as what they would have hoped. I'm sure they would have hoped to have got out of the group, especially after getting a good point in the end against USA. The game and performance against Iran was obviously ultimately not good enough. First half against England tonight, they defended really well. They stayed in the game. They didn't create anything, but they gave themselves the opportunity to get something out of the game. I think the most disappointing thing when they look back will be the Iran game. Obviously, they didn't start very well in the 45 minutes against USA, but they got themselves back in the game. They made changes, it worked. The Iran game will really frustrate them because they would have... I sat here and did the USA game and I was like, right, we'll go and beat Iran now. And then the England game everyone can enjoy it, and it didn't quite work out like that. But look, that group has been together for a long time. They've done incredible things. Gareth Bale, arguably, as Gareth said, arguably one of Wales' best ever players. The things he's done domestically and internationally. Players like Aaron Ramsey, when I was playing under Gary Speed, he was captain at that time. Lots has gone on, and it's been an incredible time for that group of players. Obviously, ultimately, they will all leave with a hint of frustration because you don't want to be going home this early when you thought you had a really good chance. But they gave it their all for the fans, and I think as a country they can be really proud of their efforts, with a hint of disappointment as well because of the way it went.
Yeah, lots to pick up on there, Steve. But let's bring Darius in as well, because this is definitely England's night, and Gareth Southgate couldn't have asked for much more, could he?
Rashford could have. He could have had a hat-trick. But no, I think it was an important game for England. I think they get to enjoy it. It's important to come to this competition and enjoy it. Galvanise the group. I do think that they grew as a team once they got past that first goal. They looked better. I think their press was more intense. And they went and grabbed some more goals, which is a great thing to go into the following games knowing that you're capable of. Because they're going to need to turn it on again, obviously later on in the tournament at some point. And knowing that they've done that before is going to be important.
Does the experience from the Euros help? Gareth Southgate pointed out in the last couple of days, don't let's panic after a relatively drab 0-0 draw. We had a pretty drab 0-0 draw against Scotland at the Euros, and it all came nicely there, and we stepped up performances as the opponents got better. Does that help you? Because most of that squad were involved in the last...
It's experience, and it all counts as experience. So all experience is going to help somewhat. The players that were a part of that are going to not want to go through it again. I'd say that is helpful. And they hopefully will pass that on to the other ones in the group, so England can build and go far.
It's not that long ago, only a few months, that people were sat there scratching their head with Marcus Rashford and saying, what has happened to the talent that was Marcus Rashford? I mean, what a renaissance we have seen in the space of, well, a couple of months, really.
Certainly, and what a stage to do it on. Obviously, the ability is always going to have been there. You don't turn into a bad player overnight, but he was going through a tricky period. I remember I was myself questioning his mental space. Is he okay? But the way he took his goals today, especially after missing that first 1v1 chance where he could have crumbled, he could have declined in performance. He actually rose and built upon that. So it seems like the ill fortune that he was having has worked for him, because what a great free kick and what a great performance. So if he can be our danger man in the tournament, that'd be something that nobody really expected it to be him, and we can use that to our advantage.
Let's just pick up on some of what you were saying about Gareth Bale, what Geraint Hughes was saying as well about Gareth Bale. We'll learn more, no doubt, in the coming days, or maybe we won't really, but do you think that maybe we were seeing a Gareth Bale who just wasn't in a condition to deliver at a World Cup?
Yeah, look, the facts speak for themselves. He was as fit as he could be, I think, is where he was. In the last 2 months, he's only played half hour of football, something like that. He scored the goal, a massively important goal for LAFC in the final, so he contributed there, and he was doing that for Wales. He contributed in the USA game. There's no one in Wales who would have wanted anyone else to step up for that penalty apart from him. His fighting, his fitness. It wasn't a tournament, and it isn't a tournament to be searching for your fitness because they come so thick and fast, and it's in the middle of a season. So, and he wasn't the only one. He hasn't won. Aaron Ramsey, I think he's played 2 games in the last couple of months. You got Joe Allen's been out for a couple of months. So it was always going to be a big ask. And
they say you can carry 1 passenger, but you can't really carry more than 1. They were trying to carry certainly 2 and 2.5 if you count Joe Allen, who was just about limping his way back into control.
Yeah, of course they were, and that was the tough. And they hoped that the spirit and the energy that would come out in the 3 games would get them through. Ultimately, it wasn't enough. But as I said, you can't say anything bad about the man. He was there for his country. He's put his body on the line. It broke just towards the end, the last half of the game. But yeah, look, he's been the best player for Wales for a long time, and he'll go down in history as one of their greatest ever.
Apologies to you and to all Wales fans. You have a little look at some of the England celebrations, because we've had our cameras around the country watching how the fans at fan parks reacted as the goals went in. We'll show you a little bit of this. We were at the Wembley Box Park, and we were in Manchester as well, as we have been throughout this tournament. Let me just show you, I think this is probably the 3rd goal going in at the Box Park. There we go, and you know what happens on these occasions. And great celebrations. So that's it's a dance, and that's Manchester. And there's been, as we were saying with Darius, some relatively dismal moments in the last game, the 0-0 draw against the USA, but they are on their way to the next stage. And with you look around the England team, Darius, and you're not really picking any holes, are you? You're not looking at saying, well, he worried me, or he worried me, or are you seeing it differently?
Not at all. I thought the subs that he brought on were brilliant. They've done really well. And as I said, it's the headache that he wants to have, but it's still a difficult, decision in terms of, how he's going to shape his team moving forward in the tournament. As I said, I felt like Rashford, the form that he's brought himself into, how does that affect Kane now? There was that incident in the first half where I think it was highlighted, where Kane could have made a near post run and he didn't quite make it. He went for the cut back and the ball didn't end up coming in. I'm thinking, if I'm Kane, I'm going to start making them near post runs again, to try and get myself on the score sheet. So that could spur everybody on the performance tonight, and hopefully it does.
I mean, Nick mentioned England have scored more goals in a group stage than they've ever managed in a major tournament before. Harry Kane there becomes the first England player to provide as many as 3 assists in a single edition of the World Cup since David Beckham in 2002. And yet, despite all those goals, the England captain, who they so often go to for goals, has not scored 1 of them. Is that a concern?
A good concern, because I do think it's going to help him. He knows how to score goals. He knows how to put it in the back of the net. He's bringing something to the team, which is important with the assists. But looking at the other players enjoy those goals, he's going to be even more hungry. So, as I said, that should be a good thing moving forward into the tournament.
Just to bring you a line, by the way, from Gareth Bale, who's just been speaking after the defeat for Wales. He went off at half-time. He says he still hopes to be involved with Wales when they meet again in March, Steve. So for him, it doesn't sound like he thinks this is the end.
Well, no, look, he's going to hope to be involved. Let's hope he is involved in some way or form. How much he's involved and what he does is going to be up for debate, and he'll be the only one who can decide that. And I think as a team and a squad of players, obviously at some point they need to be doing the best for the group, and that's what they've done the whole way through this for the last 6 years. It's been about the group, it's been about the team. The focus is always on Gareth Bale. It's always on Gareth Bale. Every interview is Gareth Bale. Every piece we do on Wales is Gareth Bale. We're now going to spend 3 months wondering if Gareth Bale is going to be picked for the Wales squad when they next meet up.
And he's 33, not 43.
No, of course, and he's still a good age. It's just whether he's playing the football that's needed to be picked and be started. If he is, then I'm sure he'll put himself forward and he'll be picked and he'll be performing again. I'd say arguably the World Cup's most probably come slight at the wrong time for a few of them, because they haven't had the match minutes leading into the tournament to be able to be at their best. But we'll all be waiting and seeing now, and I'm sure there'll be lots of rumours between now and March when they next meet up, and we'll wait and see.